Welcome back. Look, guys, I am a little bit torn here. First of all, the language barrier. I mean, I'm English is not my native language. My English is rusted AF, so I have a hard time conveying my ideas and my my ideas and my see. That's an example, and my experiences, my perspectives. I have some difficulty with that. Another thing is that I've been out reverse engineering for almost 15 years, so I'm a bit rusty. Another thing is that Jason, every time someone makes a video or a comment or a tweet, anything that dares to make a dent in his shiny armor is either blocked, uh, discredit because he is a, how does it say, a grifter, people that came out the woodwork to gain with financial motivation. Well, I'm sorry, my channel is not even monetized. But the most harmful I saw were the MCAs, right? Copyright strikes that he used, not only on Steam, but not only on YouTube, but also on Steam with the game. So this dude is a bit dangerous. Look, remember when I talk about cult leaders and that Jason reads the same book? This isn't a perfect example of what people call D.A.R.V.O. Deny, right? That's what he does. Attack, double down, attack, and reverse victim and offender. So he's now the victim, and everybody else are the offender. Cult leader 101. The dude is really trying to run a cult over there. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. All right, with that disclaimers out of the way, I will talk about some things that I quite don't understand, but I will cut him some slack. All right, man. I see for myself, I've been out of the scene for a long time. So things start to get a little bit blurry and I need to check some things. Dude, I even pull out my old hard drive, the 3.5. That's how they call that, those mechanical drives. I even pulled one out, right? I even pulled one out just to see the tutorials I have there saved, the builds of Holly, because I have several. I even have one that was customized by the Kraken team I was a part of. They customized that Holly. So I will also cut him some slack. If dude, he can just be misremembering. But this one is one of those that I can't quite understand or explain away, you know, the I'm piratable DRM quote. Because, let's see, I was in the scene at the same time he was. While he was working at Blizzard, I was out there. I'm talking about 2006, 2004. I remember the last tutorial I wrote was late 2009, I suppose, and the earliest is 2004. So I think it fits in the same time frame, correct? I think I'm assuming the right thing. So at the time, we in the community we had this phrase. It served as like a mantra. I don't know if it's the right expression, but I think it is, because it was like this: if it runs, it's crackable. And someone that heard that phrase, and I am sure Thor, Jason, being in the scene, heard it. It's hard to believe that someone that heard it would come up with something like this, because people know it's not true. We know that every code that runs is crackable or hackable. Put a pin there that I will come back to the crack hack. So why would he would say something like that, like this? I mean, it can take time, sure. It can take a lot of effort, sure. It even can take specialized tools to do the job. But every code that runs is crackable. So having this as unpiratable, it's odd. It's odd, to say the least. I would never say something like this. And I know a lot of people in the cracking community that wouldn't either. Just a parenthesis in the hack crack or hacker cracker. From my recollection, early on, there were only hackers. And I'm talking about pre-internet, pre-online, when people shared the code in cassettes. Then even at the time of the, how do you call it, billboards, we don't have it. I never had it here where I live, but this was a common thing in USA. Even there at that time, there was no cracker, it was only hacking. As far as I remember, only when online became a thing, there was a separation. Some people had problems with hacking online code, with invading people's privacy, and I suppose it started there, the device. So people that didn't went online to hack either individuals, companies, online games, those were people that didn't want to do that. Those were crackers. They only dealt with software that run on the machine without having to use the internet to access it. And the hackers were everybody else. That's how I remember. So by that time, if he used the name hacker, it was because it dealt with online things. I think I'm sure about that. So yes, by 2004, 2006, if he called himself a hacker, he was dealing with online, which match with his description. Because yes, he was a social engineer that tried to the target were people. So I'm sure he used the phone, the emails, I don't know, everything he could to target someone to give up the access to a server, for example. Okay, now let's go back to the what I was talking about. Okay, this is the first thing I wanted to address. That this quote that I don't know where it came from or why he said it. I don't know. Maybe because it believe it. But if he believe it, I have some serious doubt about even a hacker that dealt with code. Now, back to the video I made earlier yesterday. I talked about Ollie and about, how do you call it, plugin. It was developed. Well, in my hard drive, in my old drive, I found this. It came from a tutorial that I did. It's a print, a screen print, or a print screen from a tutorial I made. And as you can see, it's the IsDebugger plugin. And I want you to focus on the very first two, the the IsDebuggerPresent and the FindWindow. These were very easy to implement by the programs, are well and were very widespread. I mean, everybody used it in programming. You can ask, well, why Tor, an accomplished hacker, would use something like this? Because he knows that it's easy to crack. Well, let's let's see code like this. Think about it like this. Your code is just like an headquarters, a military headquarters you want to protect. And you don't start your layers of protection with an airstrike or with artillery, right? You start with a roadblock made of sandbags. And that's what these were. I have here, let me show you the syntax of the IsDebuggerPresent function in the Win32 API. As you see, it's easy to implement. It's easy, but it can't stop the beginners, the crackers that are beginning, that are at the start of the hobby, or sometimes their professional careers. I don't know. It was my hobby. I was never professional. It was my hobby. I like it as an hobby. So this is very easy. The other one, the find window, it's also very easy to implement. Before the plugin, we had to do things manually, right? To search for this debugger present and for the to find the second thing. One of the tricks we use to bypass the find window function was something like this. I'm gonna try to show you. I'm going to try to show you here. So this is Holly. It has nothing open, but see, it's only version 1.10. But look what's the name in the window. See, we changed the name so we can bypass the FindWindowA API function, because it will be looking for Holly and will not find it. Those were very simple tricks that we used before having that very helpful plugin that I was talking about. So these were pretty much the roadblock, the first line of defenses. Then we can put a gate with armed guards, right? And the DRM could be such a thing. The gates with armed guards, and the ones in pirate software games are not that. I mean, it totally forgot the second layer of defense. It's like that DRM. It's so easy. He better did nothing. Let's just Steam deal with the DRM and that's it. It's so easy. One of them, an emulator, a Steam emulator, can bypass it. It's incredible how simple it is. Okay, so after the gates with guards, you can have your 50 cals machine guns, and then there we start to talk about encryption. And is at this point that I want you to go. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see if I find the timestamp. I think it's here. Let's listen.
I've been a hacker for 20 years. Part of my job throughout that was working in the games industry. I was one of the guys sitting there pulling down every bot that worked for every MMO that we worked on, everything at Blizzard, grabbed every single one of those, pulled it out into assembly.
So he's talking about assembly. I think it's the only time he explicitly says he deal with assembly. So it has to be a debugger. There is no other way to. Assembly language is the machine code, and only the debuggers can show it. Okay. It talks about grabbing this code cave that is some kind of internal term they used, right? Because I never heard this before. But it talks about being an area in memory. So how do you pull something out of the memory without being inside the debugger in the first place? Do you know what? Can you understand what I'm saying? From what I understand, what he's saying, he had to already be inside the debugger to catch the memory address. Right? Okay, so then I think I know what he's talking about. And I am going to cut him some slack because he can be confused, or he just heard something, memorized it, and regurgitated it without even understanding how it worked really. One of the two.
Grabbed the code key from it, removed the polymorphic.
Now, remove the polymorphic. Then he goes out to give this explanation. And again, from what I learned, and here a coder, because I am not a coder, okay? Let the mythology stop right there. I'm not a coder. I know some code because I have to, but I'm not a coder. What I do is reading assembly. I mean, I am good with assembly inside the debugger. That's my bread and butter. But from what I understand, these things are not the same. You can't say this field code is or can be described as polymorphic code. No. No. I even to have some fact checking to check myself. I even went to Wikipedia to check if I was remembering it right. Yes, I was. See, polymorphic code that uses a polymorphic engine to mutate while killing the original intact. This is, you use either a third-party program or you write the engine yourself, but you only use it after, your code already being ready. You code the executable, you compile it, and then you roll the polymorphic engine above it. You understand? This is how decryptors work. Decryptors work. Like Armadillo. Armadillo was an encryptor. It did this. So the programmer had his code ready. It then picked up the third-party application and used it to polymorph the code, among many other things. Armadillo was really cool. Armadillo used he used two processes. He created two processes. One that you open the first process, and then he created a second one that only run in memory. So you couldn't debug it. So we had to find a way to stop Holly to create the second instance, the second thread. Then he used the obfuscation that I think it's around this polymorphy code. I think, but I think it incorporates code obfuscation. But a coder can be more precise in this. But I think I'm right. Another thing that Armadillo used was code splicing, moving things around, places of code around. It uses nanomites. That was another nasty thing. It modified the jumps. So the code in assembly has several instructions. One of those were jumps. We had conditional jumps and unconditional jump. Unconditional, it's like it is. You arrive there at the code, GMP, you have to jump it. There is no conditional. Conditional codes jumps could be, for instance, JE. JE jump if equal, or JZ jump if 0, or JNZ jump if not 0, or JNE jump if not equal, things like that. And the nanomite, what they did was to obfuscate the jumps. We didn't know if the jump was conditional, if the jump was unconditional, if it was equal, it was really nice. I love the armadillo, man. Sorry. Sorry for the. I'm rambling now. I'm rambling. Okay, but let me go back here. It says this. At times we would see hooks like this change per run, sure. What I don't understand is this. Bogus push pop commands that did nothing overall. Push is where these two are instructions, right? That we usually use at start of the call at the end. But I don't get it. I really don't. They saved registers in the stack, the push, and then the pop recovered it to then return. Okay, okay. I mean, if he was talking bogus calls that did nothing, all right. Now this I'm sure he can explain. I'm sure he can explain. So this thing, this polymorphic, are the encryption can be the machine guns. Polymorphic can be the artillery. So those are all of those were lines of defense. And in these games, Thor is just like he doesn't know they exist, which is really odd for someone that calls himself a hacker, an accomplished hacker, no less. Well, I'm sure he has very good reasons. I'm sure he can explain this very well. I only hope he doesn't call me a grifter. Okay? Dude, this is my second video. I am not even monetized, okay? So shut the fuck up. Mostly I'm a bit disappointed with you. Alright? I want the thing I got a bit technical, sure, but not too much. Because one of the things that I see where I was going. Look, one of the things that I heard from the regular people is that they don't understand when someone explains the code. This awesome video from Slop News Network, most people were like, they didn't understand. For someone that speaks English, was like, listen to Greek. And I don't want to do that. I want regular people, to understand what we are talking about without getting too technical. But of course, we need to say something that is technical. Of course, we have. But in a way that many people understand. So we have a long way in the how to communicate code programming, or cracking for that matter. We have a long way because it's too technical, man. Look, I faced it. The first tutorial, when I went into the scene, people wrote tutorials like everybody already knew what they were talking about, and I wanted to learn. And most of the times, I couldn't do it through tutorials. I had to go into Microsoft. Oh man, do you know what I mean? It make my life so much harder. So if you communicate code programming, please be aware of that. Okay? That's all, guys. Thank you very much for all the support, and we see you in the next one. Bye.